Hello and a warm welcome to this Nexus Beyond special. Today, I invite you to delve into Trinity, the best kept secret, a riveting 2021 work by Jacques F. Vallée and Paola Leopizzi Harris. This book transports us to one of the most enigmatic and underreported episodes of the 20th century, which unfolded in the heart of the New Mexico desert shortly after the historic Trinity nuclear test in July 1945. With a narrative that combines investigative rigor and gripping storytelling, Trinity presents testimonies, documents, and analyses that challenge official accounts, compelling us to deeply question, with evidence, what truly transpired on that fateful day. Prepare to revisit pivotal moments that altered history, where human technology, government secrecy, and enigmatic reports intertwine to form a modern-day puzzle.
Before delving into the book's narrative, it is essential to understand the man behind it, Jacques F. Vallée. Globally recognized as one of the most astute researchers of ufology and unexplained phenomena, Vallée's career is defined by his audacity to challenge the boundaries of conventional knowledge. With a background in physics and collaborations with cutting-edge research centers and government agencies, where he investigated UFO reports firsthand, he bridges empirical data and groundbreaking theories that defy both skepticism and sensationalism. Over decades, Vallée has published numerous articles and books, proposing that unidentified aerial phenomena may offer fresh perspectives on the relationship between science, technology, and even human consciousness. His multidisciplinary approach and unwavering commitment to rigorous inquiry make him a cornerstone for anyone seeking to unravel the mysteries woven into our history. The book opens by situating readers in the critical aftermath of World War II, a time of unprecedented global transformation. In 1945, following the culmination of the Manhattan Project, the United States conducted its first nuclear test, Trinity, in the New Mexico desert. This event not only ushered in the atomic age but also created an atmosphere of secrecy, tension, and mystery, where every sound and flash of light carried meanings that transcended the ordinary. Vallée and Harris dedicate themselves to uncovering an episode that, despite its significance, has remained relegated to the fringes of official history. An unidentified object witnessed by boys from a small local community shortly after the test. The first chapter plunges us into the heart of the events surrounding the nuclear test. In Jumbo and the Gadget, the authors meticulously describe the environment and preparations for Trinity. They recount how, in the months leading up to July 16, 1945, scientists and military personnel worked in absolute secrecy to assemble the device, nicknamed the Gadget, and ensure strict adherence to protocols. The narrative highlights the construction and transportation of a colossal containment vessel called Jumbo, a 7.5 meter by 3.5 meter chamber manufactured in Ohio and designed to contain preliminary explosions for measuring energy release. Though Jumbo was ultimately not used in the nuclear test, only in later conventional explosions, it stands as a symbol of the project's scale and audacity, showcasing humanity's capacity to devise ingenious solutions under extreme pressure and secrecy. The focus shifts to daily life near Trinity, where the narrative becomes deeply personal and visceral. On August 16, 1945, two boys, 9-year-old Jose Padilla and 7-year-old Remigio Reme Baca, witnessed a phenomenon that would forever etch itself into their memories. While performing routine chores at the Padilla Ranch, such as tending cattle and repairing fences, they were startled by an intense flash of light and a thunderous noise reminiscent of the atomic blast. According to their accounts, a metallic avocado-shaped object had crashed into the area. The object, which appeared intact despite the impact, left a deep, wide gash in the ground, a scar carved with precision, as if by a gigantic blade, defying conventional explanations. The boys' testimonies detail the harsh desert conditions. Thick smoke and extreme heat distorted their visual and auditory perceptions. The sounds, described as loud and shrill, evoked the cries of wounded animals, heightening the sense that something extraordinary had occurred. This sequence of events, the flash, the noise, the ground scar, and the metallic debris, forms the enigmatic core of the narrative, which the authors reconstruct through decades of testimonies, maps, and collected evidence. The third chapter expands the investigation to the days following the event, as the local community began to notice traces of what had transpired. Between August 16th and 20, 1945, accounts grew more precise, and residents launched informal inquiries. The authors describe how ranch owners, accompanied by a state police officer, visited the site to examine the object and collect evidence. During this expedition, the adults were profoundly affected. After spending minutes inside the object, their demeanor shifted abruptly, as if they had witnessed something so extraordinary that it altered their reactions inexplicably. Yet, details of what they saw remain elusive, deepening the mystery and speculation. Paola Leopizzi Harris, through detailed interviews with witnesses, emphasizes that the boys' and adults' accounts align on key points: the object's oval shape, ground markings, and the impression that the environment had been drastically altered by the impact. Additionally, testimonies highlight physical traces such as marks resembling heavy machinery tracks, details that, for investigators, raise questions about the object's nature and origin. The accounts also reveal extreme caution among those involved, who were instructed to maintain secrecy, suggesting that higher powers, possibly governmental, sought to suppress or control the narrative. In later sections, the authors guide readers through investigations spanning nearly 2 decades. Chapters like Stallion Gate and the case of the Siluman bracket present expert analyses of metallic fragments recovered from the site, particularly a Siluman bracket, a lightweight, durable alloy known on Earth. Researchers conducted lab tests and cross-referenced data with witness testimonies to determine whether the fragment was part of the crash device or deliberately planted to mislead investigators. 9 years later, the book reveals how new testimonies and evidence were incorporated, allowing for a re-evaluation of facts. Despite secrecy and controversy, physical traces and oral accounts remained consistent, challenging official narratives constructed over the years.
Investigations expanded to include field visits, aerial image analysis, and interviews with former residents, broadening the scope of evidence and casting doubt on long-standing explanations. Having explored the book's content and the author's claims, we arrive at the most provocative segment, a critical analysis of the facts and a personal interpretation of the events. When examining the boys' testimonies, innocent eyes witnessing a scene straight out of science fiction, we must reflect on how environmental conditions and historical context may have shaped their perceptions. My personal view is as follows. What the boys saw may have been misinterpreted. Amid the smoke and desert heat, details like the helmets they described, resembling military uniforms, could have been conflated with elements of a covert operation, possibly of Nazi origin, adapted for stratospheric flight. We know modern fighter pilots wear tight-fitting anti-G suits that compress blood vessels in the legs and abdomen to prevent blood from pooling in the lower extremities. Such suits would have been critical for occupants of a Nazi experimental craft, which likely lacked the gravitational technology required for high-speed maneuvers without harming crew members, a topic for another program. The intense, shrill sounds, interpreted by the children as cries of wounded extraterrestrial beings, could instead be linked to injured or panicked animals displaced by the crash, or to noises from ruptured pipes or escaping vapors within a damaged craft. Historical parallels exist. Just as Hindu Vimana lore describes mercury vapor propulsion, Nazi prototypes like Die Glocke, the bell, reportedly used similar technologies. As for the Siluman bracket found at the site, its characteristics align with human mechanical engineering, raising the possibility that it was either planted or part of the craft itself. This reinforces the theory that the craft originated from Nazi technology. This hypothesis I will explore further in my upcoming video on Empire Under the Ice by Stephen Quayle. Thus, there is a strong possibility that this craft was not extraterrestrial. If extraterrestrials could reach Earth, their technology would likely avoid catastrophic failures like the Roswell incident. Moreover, the closest habitable planet, Mars, would necessitate far more robust technology for interplanetary travel. An intriguing alternative is that the craft itself was monitoring nuclear tests in the region, a priority for Nazis seeking to protect their rumored Antarctic bases. Remember, this event occurred shortly after World War II, when Nazi gravitational control technology was in its infancy. It is also plausible that the craft's crew, tasked with investigating nuclear tests and collecting samples, would have worn radiation protective suits. The crash into a Marconi radio tower, uncommon at the time and indicative of limited radar technology, may have resulted from low-altitude reconnaissance flights. The post-war period was marked by extreme tension and secrecy. The Trinity test had birthed an era of uncertainty, and military operations were conducted with absolute rigor. While official explanations attribute the events to atomic test protocols, we cannot dismiss nuances revealed in testimonies and physical evidence, details that invite bold, provocative interpretations. Trinity, the best-kept secret, challenges us to re-examine the past critically and question established narratives. While official accounts of nuclear tests and military procedures explain much, my personal interpretation suggests the boys' testimonies may have been filtered through extreme environmental conditions and the presence of technology or uniforms reminiscent of a Nazi military order. This does not validate extraterrestrial explanations. Rather, it highlights the complexity of interpreting historical events when sensory details and context intertwine. I invite you to ponder: what is seen may differ vastly from reality, and the challenge of scientific inquiry lies in separating signal from noise. The quest for truth, especially in an episode as pivotal as Trinity, demands both scientific rigor and the courage to question the obvious. Thank you for joining this deep dive into the mysteries of Trinity, the best-kept secret. Subscribe, like, and comment. Do you believe the 1945 desert incident was extraterrestrial or human in origin? I hope this special has ignited the same curiosity and investigative spirit that drives great researchers. Until next time, keep questioning the given, for truth often hides in the details. If you want and can support the channel, please donate any amount to help us grow. Thank you.